Thank you, Roshan, for taking your time, and thank you, Anand, also for taking your time. Quick introduction for both the speakers here. Roshan is a IIT Bombay alumni and the founder for Trip Villas for the last 16 years. Trip Villas is one of the largest vacation home or holiday home company in Asia. Uh, and Anand is principal founder for all DRX, which is basically making real estate investments accessible for Middle India, making it as small as bringing the ticket size down to as low as rupees 10,000 for anyone in the country to invest. So forum is open to you guys. I'll set the first question, which is a broad question for you. And Roshan, you come in from an experience standpoint because you are in this industry where pillars enable people to experience this. Anand, you come in from the investment side where you're enabling people to get a piece of the pie for people to make return out of this. So the first question, holiday home or second home as a market has picked up in the country for the last 5 years. We have seen immense growth. The Indian middle class is more aspirational now. They're putting money both in experiences and investment. Uh, Goa has been the flagship bearer, but the growth has been across the country. So I would like to take opinions from or get your take on this question from both of you, Anand and Roshan. What do you think? What do you think about this growth? What has been driving this, and what do you think will happen then in the next 2 to 5 years?
You want to go ahead or?
No, I mean you first, Roshan.
Yeah. No, Manishil, firstly, thank you to the all team for having me here. It's a pleasure. And, it's really exciting what Alt is doing and, democratizing the access to all these real estate products to the average Indian. Now, about holiday homes, you're absolutely right. We've seen effectively the market going crazy post-COVID. And I think um, this is, there are very logical reasons for this. I think COVID, our generation realized that you can pretty much, there's an opportunity to live from anywhere, work from anywhere, and kids can also school from anywhere. And so that has caused a significant shift in the ability for people to consume this kind of real estate, which is your typical holiday home real estate, in much greater volume as compared to what would regularly be allowed or would have been possible for them. So what has happened is that the product has moved from I use it one on the long weekend, which means that maybe in a year I may have 6 or 7 long weekends, and in those long weekends I will book a holiday home or I'll stay in my holiday home, to pretty much where people are saying that now I can go and live and work for, let's say, a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This has become very, very common now. So this has caused, that's one aspect. So I mean, you have demand going up. Secondly, I think the quality of product that you're selling is phenomenal. So if you compare the kind of product created prior to COVID and the kind of product that you are seeing today come into existence or being launched today, you are seeing a fantastic improvement in the overall quality of the product. The quality drives desirability, and which is then driving the aspirational kind of purchases by the consumers, etc. And so people are willing to pay more because they see their dream life in that product, which was not the case with any of the product I think in India launched prior to COVID. You had very, very poor quality product, and very, very poor quality of overall developers, and just there was a more clinical approach earlier as opposed to today. We are seeing a lot of real passion and energy going into the product and the kind of product being created, etc. So that's translating into the end consumer resonating and being willing to pay more, and then everything getting re-rated to reflect that. Anand?
Yeah, I think Roshan, you're the dawn of holiday home. There's not much that I can add after you've gone first. But yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I think holiday home is one of the best asset classes within the residential space. I just want to articulate 2 points. Earlier, when I'm saying earlier, let's say 5, 7, 10 years back, if one wanted to invest in a holiday home property, the only option was to possibly choose a city and then choose a developer, and then choose a project office, and then choose an apartment within this project and put all your money in that one specific apartment, right? Now with digital real estate platforms like all DRX, the beauty is you can pick and choose 5 different holiday home destinations. You can pick and choose, let's say, Goa as a great destination, Kerala as a great destination, Mahabalipuram in Chennai as a great destination, and then say, all right, I will check if all DRX has these opportunities, and come onto a platform. I can say, all right, I'll put 100 square foot. I'll invest in 100 square foot in Goa holiday home opportunity. I'll buy 50 in Kerala. I'll buy even 1 square foot every month in, let's say, Chennai holiday home opportunities. So that has now allowed people to participate in the holiday home asset category without the need for concentration of capital. You can diversify, you can invest systematically. These are options that have come in beautifully right now. Second piece is just to add on to what Roshan said. The quality of the holiday home asset class itself has gone up substantially. With players like Trip Villas being there. The service delivery in a holiday home is on par with the finest hotels in that holiday home destination. And the beauty is when you go on a holiday, you're a larger group of people going together, right? Unlike when you go on a work visit, it's just you who's going to a city. So a hotel room is just perfect because it's just one person occupying it. But if you're going to Goa or Kerala, you're going with your whole jingbang of your family, right? Your wife, your kids, etc. So you need larger space. I think that's where holiday home, holds its fort. It has a great advantage over hotels. And there is a reason why people choose holiday homes over hotels, because it's larger space. And with service delivery being as good as in any other hotel, holiday home becomes a great place for families to go and spend their holidays. If the asset classes become attractive from a user perspective, it becomes a great opportunity for everybody to start investing and owning a small piece of these holiday homes. And that's what we do a little bit to facilitate.
Thank you, Roshan, and thank you, Anand, for very insightful points on this specific topic. The next question is for you, Anand. In India, at this point of time, what are the key locations which are in focus for holiday home as a business or as an investment opportunity? And what kind of returns will you see, at least in the top markets? Because we have been doing this for the last 3-4 years, and there is a decent understanding of what kind of returns. Over to you, Anand. Help us build more knowledge on what would be the right places to go after or evaluate to invest.
Anyway, I think one of the first few people that I'll call to check what destination we should launch within the holiday space is Roshan. So I think he'll be better off in answering which are the best destinations. But I would say that any holiday destination within 3 to 4 hours driving distance, from a large city has great potential, because the quality of roads have improved in the country. The quality of vehicles that the common man has improved. So if it's a weekend destination, if you can drive within 2, 3, 4 hours, so these are all great places. And every big city, whether it is Bombay, whether it is Pune, whether it's Delhi, whether it's Bangalore, all of them have these great destinations close by, and these are good location destinations to be in. In addition to evergreen opportunities, Kerala, not just Indians but foreigners come into. Goa, not just Indians, people from around the world come into these destinations. These are again destinations which are attractive for everybody. From a return perspective, I will say holiday homes tend to give you between 10 and 12% kind of returns. The beauty is these are low risk products. These are not high risk. These are not like equity or derivative, or these are not. You won't have principal loss scenarios, etc. But finally, these are all backed by physical real estate. So very low risk, but closer to 12% kind of returns. Combination of capital appreciation, combination of very interesting rental returns. Rental returns could in a holiday home vary from anywhere between 6 and 8.5% kind of return, plus add another 5-6% of capital appreciation. So that gives a beautiful return mix. And there is some utility value in holiday home. So if you own, let's say, 100 square foot of Goa on all DRX, you may get 2 nights free to come and stay into. So these are all the interesting part of investing in holiday home opportunities.
Yeah, thanks, Anand. I think so. Anyone who sees this will get a perspective on how do you choose, what do you choose, what kind of returns would you make in case you're looking at investing in holiday homes as a category. The next question is for Roshan. I want to get a neutral perspective, not an investment perspective. That real estate has grown in India from 2021. It was a post-COVID spike, but it has sustained, and we have seen like 50% growth in rentals, in your land values, in overall values. What do you see going forward now? How do you see it panning out? Do you see it moderating, or do you see this growth continuing, considering what are the dynamics of the country?
Yeah, so see, we are in the business of what we say calling creating arbitrage. And arbitrage is created really by the intellect of the developer who takes raw land and then converts it to a finished product. Now, just how, any mutual fund manager, I mean, of course, it's in many cases, it may be a ball bouncing up a hill. So any manager putting money into Indian equities and large cap equities would have made money in the last 10 years. But our job as investors, or our job, is to pick the managers with the intellect who are able to create arbitrage irrespective of which way the ball bounces. And today, you are seeing the emergence of some of those, developers who are very astute, who are able to build comfort with some of India's wealthiest families. So they are able to take and unlock land which has typically not been accessible to the average Indian. They're really, prestige properties or really developed properties which some of the wealthiest families of India have very passionately been keeping in their control for decades. And when you have that kind of a beautiful raw material, the developer also has the intellect to be able to create fantastic product on it. And then you have arbitrage, which then, when it opens to the general public, will create that wow factor, and which then for the investors will return multifold on their capital. So you have, of course, the ability for investors to make, let's say, the median return. But I think today the opportunity is to really pick the right managers and the right, developers, and then make super normal returns in India, because you will see, as the product gets created over the next decade or so, what is the mediocre developer and what is the fantastic developer. Because in India, like in hospitality today, I think you have very clearly Oberoi, which stands out, and then you have, let's say, the Taj, and then you have, let's say, the Leela somewhere between the Oberoi and the Taj, and then you have the mediocre other Indian hotel brands and companies. In holiday homes, you will see that now happening as the assets complete, and you will then see that the outstanding products get a significantly larger multiple and much larger arbitrage.
Understood. Thank you, Roshan, for the input on how real estate is performing and what will happen. Uh, the next thing which I want to pick up is co-ownership or digital investing. It has been the keyword. Everything is moving to digital gold, digital real estate. Everybody just wants to have everything at the click of a button. Uh, and Holiday Home for that is also following that theme, is now accessible for people to invest into digitally, to book digitally. What are your thoughts on co-ownership and digital real estate? How do you think it is changing the way people behave, and how can it impact the overall industry to grow faster or not grow, whatever that input is?
Right. So, Mani, see, I feel whenever you give up control, you have to be very careful about the vehicle you get into. Now, as you know, there are so many of these mushrooming of these sort of fractional ownership or co-ownership platforms. A lot of them were not regulated. Now the government has brought in some regulation, etc. So I think as an investor, they have to do their due diligence, saying that which is the platform that that I'm comfortable and I have done my due diligence, that is going to add the least overhead. Everyone understands that when you move from ownership to co-ownership, you there will be some overhead of management. But what is going to add to the what's going to add the least amount to that overhead, and what is not going to compromise on the investors' interests? Once the investors make do this analysis across platforms, then I think then they can participate wholeheartedly in this area. Because I personally feel that maybe some of the players have taken many shortcuts in the past. So that I would caution investors on going into some of those platforms, etc., because you don't know how much. I mean, nothing is sort of transparent, and you don't really clearly understand what they're exactly doing and how is ownership being established and how does your ownership get protected, and what happens if, let's say, the platform itself exists, does not exist, management overhead goes beyond a certain extent, etc., etc. So I think investors will have to do that basic due diligence, because they can't invest in this as a category. They have to look at a specific platform and its pros and cons, and then decide on the platform they want to work with.
Yeah, thank you, Roshan. I think so. It's very important for an investor to be clear on what they're investing in, what are the safety mechanism, who is going to run it for them. Because at the end of the day, it's a physical asset. Even though loss of capital the risk of loss of capital is low, but at the end of the day, someone has to run it and generate returns for you. If you're looking at from an investment standpoint, your thoughts on it, Anand, co-ownership as digital real estate as the way forward.
I think it's absolutely right what Roshan just mentioned. I think governance structures of platforms are very, very important. Finally, if it depends on who is going to be the platform that you're going to partner with as an investor. So yeah, I mean the credentials of the founders, the people who are early backers of that platform. Is there a governance structure that these young companies have put? Instead of saying that I will self-regulate myself, is there a taller personality within the organization who can question the founders? Hey, listen, Anand, are you doing the right thing? So these are some things that comes with experience. I think fortunately, platform like us has people like Roshan. I mean, our advisory board, for example, has the likes of the ex-chairman of SEBI, KPMG India CEO, HSBC Technologies chairman. These are all voluntary. I mean, it's not. I mean, given a choice, I'd work where nobody questions me, right? It's far easier to work in an environment like that. So putting these restrictions on yourself is just that I don't stray, I don't make errors in judgment. These are things that are very, very important to build governance structure. After all, finally, we're working with public faith, and it's with great power comes responsibility, as they say. So yeah, governance structures are very important. So choose the right platform that you want to work with if you want to enter into a co-ownership kind of a structure. But like you rightly said, structurally speaking, most of these co-ownership structures are on liquidation agnostic corporate structures, which is the assets are owned by a separate legal entity and not the platform. So the platform, the separate legal entity will survive immaterial of what happens to the platform. The assets, the property itself is owned by these platforms, and these separate legal entities are the ones which issue these digital assets or tokens, as they are called, which are just traded on a public platform. So like you rightly said, these are asset backed, and hence they are once you've chosen the right partner, these are fairly low risk kind of investment opportunities. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Anand. So we're getting into the final question. This is specifically for Roshan. Roshan, you have been a big believer in alt DRX for the last so many years. And you have been the earliest, one of the earliest believers in alt DRX. What made you choose coming on to alt DRX as an investor and believe in this thesis?
Right. So, Mani, I of course know Anand and Avinash, and I believe that real estate is not like any other tech business. See, at the end of the day, real estate is the world's largest industry, and it requires anybody operating in real estate, especially anybody taking the role of guiding people on their investments in real estate. They must have a deeper understanding of the legality and the complications with creating real estate. Now, I believe that because Anand, Avinash, they've been on the real estate developer side, not at the junior level. So Anand was the president of Purvankara, Avinash also is CMO of a very large developer. So I believe they've seen that cycle and they've seen whatever complications, because I know the real estate developers they were part of, they go through the usual challenges that all real estate developers in India do, especially to become a large listed player, which means that Anand would have seen in his career deals that have gone wrong, deals that have gone well, deals that were of different kind of structures, whether it's a landowner JD structure, outright buying land, commercial structure, etc. So this experience prepares him well for for knowing what could go wrong, what can go right, and what are the various safeguards to be put in place when you are the custodian of and family money, etc. This experience is lacking in most of the people running such platforms. So when I believe that you can't, if you don't have that experience, and India is a messy market, it is generally a difficult market to make money in. Now you have to, then you're not a custodian of foreign capital which is patient. You are the custodian of regular mom and pops India, and their capital. So you need a person at the helm who has seen these complications of India and is able to have his gut kick in and say that, hey, maybe we should go slow on this deal. Maybe we should do this deal more aggressively. And nothing can prepare you for this role as opposed to having done this before yourself. So that is why I feel that the founders at Alt, when even they came to me initially, I was of course the first check into the company along with another close friend of mine. So the reason that we said that I personally committed him instantly is because I know that Anand and all have this experience, and this experience is necessary in a messy market like India.
Understood. But apart from just the founder, Anand obviously is a veteran in this field, and I understand where you come from. But apart from the founders, what else excited you about All DRX as an idea?
Think the DNA of any company, just how the baby is the 50% or 51 to 50%, 49 to 51% DNA of the mother and 49 to 51% DNA of the father. It cannot come from anyone but the founders. The same way for any company, the DNA will always be driven by the founders. So for me, at least, I feel that the founders then drive because they know what they inherently, even if they don't put it on pen and paper, their all their actions is an outcome of their experience up to the point when they found the company. So they will if they have that experience and the exposure, then they know inherently what decisions to take, what can go wrong, etc. And so for me, at least, with every company that I invest in or I back, the primary decision is the background of the founder, and do they have the necessary skills and training and experience to run that business. Now, for some founders, where I'm the investor, I've been the investor there 21 years old, and the primary skill required at that stage was to run fast and build quickly. So so there, having a founder who's as disconnected from the real world and is a true optimist, because he's not been jaded by the real world, is the right qualification.
All DRX is trying to do is bigger than what we have seen in this ecosystem. So full power to Anand to take this up and make this a big company, because it's not just about valuations, it's about a problem a company is trying to solve, and that problem is a large enough problem in this country at this point of time.
Because valuation is a function of trust. So once you have trust, you have unlimited capital in India, because India, we have not many options to deploy capital. So, and we are entering an environment where interest rates are coming down. So you will have more and more pressure for people to deploy money in alternative assets. I think over the last 1 month, you've seen that the average Indian salaried employee who thought I could just lazily invest in mutual funds would have lost anywhere from 15 to 30% of his accumulated savings till date.
Yeah. Thank you for the. It gives us context on what made you believe in all DRX and why you have been like the earliest backer for the company. So thank you, Anand. Thank you, Roshan, for taking out time talking about what's happening on the second home market or the holiday home market. How are things panning out? Uh, any thoughts? Any closing comments from your side to open to both of you now?
Anand, you can go first.
I mean, I think everything is said and done today on the holiday home opportunity, and I like Roshan rightly said, people need to understand that investing in the fastest asset class, and I mean fastest asset class, the one that is the flavor of the month, which is delivering returns, is not necessarily the best practice, right? You need to diversify. You need to understand the risk and reward, so real estate has to be 15-20% of anybody's portfolio. Earlier, it was not possible to participate in real estate because you did not have a lot of money. Now with platforms like all DRX, you can do an SIP, SIP-like transaction where you can save 1 square foot every month for 10,000 rupees. These are all possibilities. So I think understand the risk and reward. If something is delivering 12% returns, that's because the risks are lower. Something is delivering 25% returns is because that when the cycles turn, it can be minus 25, right? Like equities. So have the right risk reward ratio is something that I just want to leave all the listeners with.
Very well said, Anand. I think I agree. I think holiday homes is an exciting space, but the devil is in the details. As I said, the next decade will clearly separate out who is the Oberoi in India and who is the Royal Orchid. So you will get to see that very starkly, and that will translate into the value of every property with the inferior brand's badge on it.
Yeah, thank you, Roshan. Thank you, Anand. We had a good session. We hope listeners get some value out of it because there's a lot of knowledge in this conversation which we have had over the last half an hour.
Thanks, Mani.
Bye.
Thank you, Roshan. I'll talk to you later soon.
Yes, bye.
All right, man. Take care.